Hi, I'm Crystal Hurd, and this is my channel, That Lewis Lady. Thanks for coming. Today I want to talk about why I love C.S. Lewis and how I started reading him many years ago. I grew up in a really religious faith, pretty strict, and so I didn't do a lot of reading outside of like Bibles or Bible commentaries. And I read a lot growing up of like Nancy Drew and R.G. comics, just, secular stuff. But when I went to college, I became an English major in my undergrad, and I was reading these amazing works of literature. At the time, I think James Joyce's The Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man is the book that made me an English major. Another one is Kate Chopin's The Awakening. My sophomore year of my undergrad, I started reading these books that were teeming with meaning and layers, and I loved that. It was like a puzzle that not only was I reading, I was trying to piece together all these mysteries and think about what the theme was. There was just something really fulfilling about doing that and reading great writing. And so when I was nearing the end of my degree program, I really started looking for other books, other than the classics, which I love, that would have the same kind of flavor, right? Are there any books today or more contemporary writers today that write like this? Or do I have to go back into the classic section to get sort of a literary jolt, fulfillment for the things I was reading? So after I graduated, I worked for a little while in customer service, and someone mentioned to me, have you ever read C.S. Lewis? Have you ever read Mere Christianity? And I had heard of C.S. Lewis, but to my knowledge, I had never read him. To my recollection, I have never read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I actually hadn't read Narnia. I didn't read Narnia until I was 30 years old, almost 30. So it was a while. And I thought, well, Mere Christianity, that sounds interesting. That kind of sounds up my alley. So the next time that I was at our local bookstore, I picked up a copy of Mere Christianity and opened it. Had a pen and a highlighter. I thought, let's see what's here. And I was blown away. This book changed my life. I know that is so cheeky to say. That was so cliche to say, that book changed my life. This book changed my life. There are so many reasons, and I've talked before when I've had discussions and conversations with people. But I grew up in a situation where I really asked questions and was kind of given a just have faith answer, right? Logic did not dare tiptoe right into the faith aspect of your life. And I was uncomfortable with that, to be quite honest with you. I was uncomfortable. I wanted to dive deep. I wanted answers. I wanted to satisfy my curiosity and my desire for logic. I wanted that. I wanted a book that wasn't afraid to ask those questions because God is big enough to answer them. So when I began Mere Christianity, when I began it, I was immediately hooked. Page 2, page 3, page 4. I was like a hungry person. I was ravenous. I read. I couldn't stop reading. I couldn't stop highlighting and underlining. It was every paragraph. I just couldn't stop devouring it. It was crazy. And I remember getting to the end of chapter 1 and being so completely blown away that I had to put the book down and exhale for a minute and let my brain absorb all the wisdom. It was just so good. And at that point, I was like, I have to read more of this guy's work. I wonder how many more books he's published. So I went to the internet and found there were 50 at least books. And I was like, well, I guess I need to start saving my nickels because I'm going to read everything this guy has written. I was hooked. I was absolutely hooked. So during my life, I have continually dipped back into C.S. Lewis's wisdom so much. He's one of these few authors that can nourish you as a child through things like the Chronicles of Narnia. He can nourish you through the times when you are an adolescent and you're a young adult and you're questioning things and you're wondering about these things. He can give you the confidence to ask those questions and the confidence to seek the answers that help you. And as an adult, when you are dealing with grief, right, or trying to figure out good things about your prayer life, Lewis is one of those people, and one of the few writers, I think, that really escorts you through every season of your spiritual life. He can nourish you at every season of your life, which is what I love about him. And he is able to speak to you plainly and speak to you clearly and speak to you through wisdom and a clear head. There's so many opportunities when you read spiritual books where we get tangled up in theology. And Lewis calls himself in one of his letters a translator, not a theologian. He wants to just help people understand what's there so that they can have a better relationship with God, that they can live a better life, they can be more fulfilled. That's what he wants. He didn't want to be famous. He really did not want to be famous at all. But because he was so full of wisdom and he was good at what he did, he was blessed to do a lot of great work in his lifetime. So even later on, when I actually went and finished, did a doctorate, and actually wrote mine on C.S. Lewis as a transformational leader, as someone you can follow that will help change your life for the better. If you are interested in checking that out, I actually did publish a modified version of that through Winged Lion Press, and it's called The Leadership of C.S. Lewis, and I can link it down below. But that book was about 10 years of research, and because I started it and then worked on it for a while after I graduated, and the wisdom that we have from him is just amazing. And he continually nourishes me, and every time I open up a book, it's like the first time I'm reading it. And if you want a different flavor, if you want science fiction, you can read that. He's got it. If you want some literary criticism, he's got it. If you want some advice on the prayer life, he's got it. He's got you covered. So I wanted to read a little bit from the preface. The preface, not even into the whole meat of the argument yet. And so many things about this book captured me, but this opening was profound to me. So profound. So I want to read a little bit of it for you. I hope no reader will suppose that mere Christianity is here put forward as an alternative to the creeds of the existing communions, as if a man would adopt it in preference to Congregationalism or Greek Orthodoxy or anything else. It is more like a hall out of which doors open into several rooms. If I can bring anyone into that hall, I shall have done what I attempted. But it is in the rooms, not the hall, that there are fires and chairs and meals. The hall is a place to wait in, a place from which to try the various doors, not a place to live in. For that purpose, the worst of the rooms, whichever that may be, is, I think, preferable. It is true that some people may find they have to wait in the hall for a considerable time, while others feel certain almost at once which door they must knock at. I do not know why. There is a difference. But I am sure God keeps no one waiting unless he sees that it is good for him to wait. When you do get into your room, you will find that the long wait has done you some kind of good, which you would not have had otherwise. But you must regard it as waiting, not as camping. You must keep on praying for light. And of course, even in the hall, you must begin trying to obey the rules which are common to the whole house. And above all, you must be asking which door is the true one, not which pleases you best by its paint and paneling. In plain language, the question should never be, do I like that kind of service? But are their doctrines true? Is holiness there? Does my conscience move me toward this? Is my reluctance to knock at this door due to my pride, or my mere taste, or my personal dislike of this particular doorkeeper? When you have reached your own room, be kind to those who have chosen different doors, and to those who are still in the hall. If they are wrong, they need your prayers all the more. And if they are your enemies, then you are under orders to pray for them. That is one of the rules common to the whole house. Beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful. And that's not even the start of it. So much wisdom in that book. So even today, even as I read it now, it overwhelms me. Such good stuff. I'm grateful for C.S. Lewis's faithfulness and his writing and his talent. And I'm so glad that so many of us are still being nourished today through his work. Well, that's all I have today. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you soon.